If you've been noticing, my lives lately have been a little bit frustrating, and it's geared towards a pair of individuals that have some serious holes in their stories. I've stayed quiet long enough, trying to wait for the day that would come that I could get some answers and hopefully give my viewers, yourselves, and my family and others some truth behind some people's wrongdoings. You see, there's history that was made, and I'm seeing that some people are running away with a narrative that is absolutely incorrect. And all I've been trying to do is get some clarity on these issues. But they refuse to respond, which then forces me to do what I'm about to show you. This is in no way vindictive or spiteful or for any justification on my part. It is merely to bring some answers to some serious questions that not only I have, but all of my followers have. And a lot of people are looking for those answers. I'm going to try and piece it together the best I can, but here we are. We have a little bit of, basically, a little bit of time here that we need to send a message to Ottawa. Now, I can't get a convoy of trucks ready. We can't put that together quick enough to make that message be heard across Canada. But what we do have is we have a convoy, a fleet of truckers that have reached out. And on January 23rd and 24th, these truckers are going to shut down their units for 2 days. So as you see, January 10th, we were already in the ball was already rolling on this. But you're going to see in this next video where Chris and Tamara have started their own show. It's called House Arrest. And in this, she's claiming their origin story and how they got started. And remember, January 10th, this was already rolling. Now, I have all the receipts for this, but in this next video you're going to see is how they're saying Tamara got into contact with Chris around the 13th. This ball was already rolling. And Chris and I were already in talks already. And, well, we'll let the video speak for itself.
A week later, we were starting this whole thing. But so my good friend sent me a video, and I reached out to Glenn Carrot, actually, because I followed the United Reroll, a little bit when it had gone out in 2019, and I had just reached out to him over social media to try and find out who this Chris Barber was, and if I could track down his phone number.
Fucking liar.
And I did. So the rest is
I have that book, by the way. What day was that? January 13th? This is my note. When somebody calls me for a load, when they need something hauled, I have a notepad that will keep with me.
Okay, so if you missed it really early on, she says, and a week later we had this going. We started this whole thing. No, you didn't start this, Tamara. You did not start this at all. In fact, we're going to show you another video coming up where Tamara wasn't even coming. And wait for that one. But January 13th, you say, huh? So does this inferring that while we were already getting this rolling and you knew it was going to happen, you were trying to take it over? Because that's what I'm kind of getting from this. But let's let the rest play out.
Yeah, so it's done me well.
nice. I have yours on it. I still have my notebook with your name on it too.
Oh, nice.
And I was so excited when I found out that you were from Saskatchewan, right from the same area that I grew up to. So anyways, that first phone call, we hit it off, and I knew we were going to be really great friends. I just thought I chatted with you for a few minutes, and you seemed like you had a good head on your shoulders, and you had a great sense of humor, and that, you were just loved your country, and you wanted a better life for your family, and yeah, it makes me emotional, but, really, I guess that was my motivations, and I'm so grateful that, we've just got such a great family now of all the people that we've met.
Whatever.
And a few that have been successful. So, and then, so that's basically how I got involved. About a week, I think, into the convoy, this gentleman shows up who some army.
What you say? January 10th, I was getting the ball rolling. Hang on one second. Okay, so as a lot of you know, I'm always really good at keeping receipts. I have oodles and hours, and I swear I've got 10 years worth of footage. But this is when I start introducing who the real players were in this. Take a look.
Any doubt, I'm going to bring in everybody, and then we got a surprise guest, and everybody, the guest that's going to come in last, you're going to recognize him. You're going to know who he is.
That I will be at January 23rd, and we meet at 8 a.m. at Exit 25 on the 402, and we've got Windsor, that ADT Trucking.
Sensation, and where are you right now, Chris?
Sitting in Fargo, North Dakota, waiting for us.
January 23rd.
Hang on.
And we meet at 8 a.m. at Exit 25 on the 402. And we've got Windsor, that ADT Trucking will be heading up in Windsor, meeting in on Cromber, Exit 9 on the 401.
Okay, so that's Bridget Belton. The next one, well, you know, he's become a legend, the myth. We like to call him Big Red, is his name. Big Red, once again, say hello to Christopher. Christopher, how's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, bud. How are you tonight?
We're making a roll. You know, Christopher's the one who's on the TikTok, guys, who's kind of become an overnight sensation. And where are you right now, Chris?
Sitting in Fargo, North Dakota, waiting for a snowstorm to hit us. I got my co-pilot here, Zippy, waiting to hover the camera work. We're here.
Look at him. He's looking. He's running watch. Hey, he's looking for everybody. Oh, isn't that cute? That's the cutest thing in the world. All right, so we've got Chris, the legend, the overnight sensation on TikTok. We've got Bridget, his co-star, his co-pilot, is in the top right here. And now I want to bring in Joe Jansen. Joe is from Manitoba. Joe's running the Manitoba side of things. So say hello to Joe.
Hi.
How's it going, Joe?
Good.
I know you guys aren't keen on the camera stuff, and that's okay. This is just to get everybody out there to see who everybody is. Joe, how are you playing into this now? Just give a little brief introduction.
Well, on the 23rd on Sunday, we're going to be just rounding up truck drivers, bobtail, in Morris, Manitoba, and at 9 a.m. on the 24th, Monday, we're going to roll out at 9 a.m. and we're going to meet other trucks and just passenger vehicles, healthcare workers. There's burger.
Okay, so this goes into a few more details, but as you understand this, as you know how this plays out, this is exactly the originals of the organization who truly started it. Now, when I see other things like in this video, I would like to ask a few questions as to why people aren't calling this out. And you're running with this. Is it because your lie has gotten too far ahead and you can't get back to the original point of all of this? And why?
This campaign. And I'm going to leave it up to Tara so she can introduce you guys to her. And then we'll tell you where we're at with a couple things. So Tamara, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Well, my name is Tamara. You might know me from GoFundMe. I put a post on my Facebook page this morning that said last Friday I got up, I went to work, I came home, I talked to Chris, made a Facebook page, started a GoFundMe account, and went off with my band to play a show. And
started a GoFundMe page. Remember that? Remember that, Tamara? You started a GoFundMe page. That's it. That's all you did. Hang on. We'll get to some more.
If it wasn't for Tamara to keep everybody in line, we'd be all just like trying to herd cats, guys. Tamara's holding it down in the admin side of things. Her and her crew back there. There's Christina. I don't know. Give a shout out to everybody in behind you.
Yeah. Well, obviously, when we started this, when I started the GoFundMe, I wasn't expecting that this was going to get this kind of attention. And when I realized how quickly there was money coming in, I knew that we needed to form a formal committee to make sure that this was properly managed. This is people's hard-earned money. In some cases, money that they couldn't afford to donate, but they really felt they had to contribute something, which this means so much to all of us. On my team, I have Helen. I'm not going to give their last names because I don't have permission, but I got Helen and Pam, who are bookkeepers. I have Brad, who's going to be helping with the accounting side of things. Cindy, who's been
an absolute godsend working on the admin part. And Christina just came on board. She's also a bookkeeper and with a lot of accounting background. And she's helping keep track of our minutes and making sure everything's documented. And yeah, we've.
All right. So they were the admins in the background that were running things because things were getting ahead of us and we couldn't hold on to it. But they were recommended to me by a certain somebody. And I'm not going to say that certain somebody's name because I respect this person and I know they have things in their lives that don't need to be involved in this nonsense. But Tamara, you know who said person is. You know who put you into contact with me, who put you on board with me. And you know this. And this is my problem, is when we just want to get down to the brass tacks and find out where you got flipped. That's it. Why did you flip on all of us? Why did you guys do what you did to all of us? Who did it to you? And you could be the hero in all of this if you just came out and explained to everybody what happened. How does Tom Marazzo fit into this? He had nothing to do with the original people. Nobody had. And who did you get permission from to bring these people in? And Chris, why did you allow this to happen when we were all good buddies, we were all getting along, and everything was rolling just perfect? Hang on, there's more. Okay, so now here's the best part of it. Ready? Let's switch it over.
It is. It is. It pulls at the heartstrings, that's for sure.
All right, Tamara, thank you very much. Get some sleep. Hey, are you coming?
I think I am.
Oh, so you guys, when you see Tamara, you're going to have to give her the biggest hugs in the world, but you're going to have to get in line.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much, because this lady is integral. She's the meat and potatoes that keeps the kids in line.
Oh, thank you.
So up until this point, Tamara wasn't even coming. But this point here, she's making the decision, I think I am coming. I'm just going to leave it there because I'm not going to take away from everybody who put their efforts in. But what I want is the truth. And in your videos, you're telling everybody you started it. You're telling everybody that you were the one that organized it. That you were the one that did this and you did that. You didn't. It was the hard work of us. You remember us? Remember us? But you see, something happened, Tamara. And I really loved you in the beginning. And I really loved what you were doing. And you were helping us big time. And I'll never take that away from you. But what you did to us in Ottawa, and what you did to people after this, and what you've done when you ran through this for the last 3 years, traveling all over Europe, taking the credit for everybody's hard friggin' work, that's where I stop. Because now you guys are making documentaries, and you're going to lie because this stuff is going to go down in history. And you're going to lie about it. And what have we learned about liars in history? That ends up coming back and biting the population. I'm sorry I have to do this, but I can't stand watching the lies anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know I'm about the facts. I don't care if it hurts your feelings, it's still the truth. And the truth of the matter is, you never started this. You never did. And now I feel sorry for you because somebody has gotten it in your head and they've propped you up. And it breaks my heart because you were a good person. And now I'm watching it. And people are asking me questions and they want to know the truth. And I'm going to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Here's where Chris tries to say that him, Tamara Leitch, myself, and James were the main organizers. There's a video you're going to see in a little bit here where Chris says I had nothing to do with the organizing. So now I'm seeing lying on the stand in the POEC. I'm seeing other holes falling apart on them that now I have some really serious questions. Why was I thrown under the bus at the POEC? And everybody knows it for those that were watching. Why did you throw me under the bus? Was it to save your own asses? Was it to cover your tracks? Or was it because you were trying to save your ass by utilizing me as the fall guy? And how did that turn out for you? It turned out pretty bad because you got 18 months house arrest. Tamara got 15. But we'll let this play on a little bit longer. This is what I'm talking about.
And before I take off from Nipagon here, one more story from the Nipagon experience during Convoy. We were scheduled to go all 30 miles of traffic down Highway 17. And of course, 17 in the wintertime is usually not the route that you want to take with a commercial vehicle. Everybody sticks to the North Road on 11. I knew that. I wasn't really in charge of the planning on the route, so I went with it. But there were some phone calls that came in from...
Who was organized in planning the convoy?
All of us. There wasn't one necessarily a leader. It was a group of organizers per se. We had people in every province that stepped up. We had helpers in every province. It was all, everyone just came together.
Was there people who were more involved in planning than others?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And who was that?
Well, myself, Tamara Leitch, Bridget Belton, James Bowder, and Patrick King.
But wait, Chris, didn't you just say in the video before that you didn't have any involvement in the organization? So did you lie then, or are you lying right now? Because if I remember correctly, and trust me, I have a memory of an elephant, you guys had nothing to do with the roads. I did, and James did. You didn't delegate any of the road captains. I did, and James did. In fact, you and Bridget were busy driving, and that's why we had to do it all. Hang on, we'll get to more.
That Facebook Live event, in attendance were yourself, James Bowder, who you've referenced, Miss Belton, who we've spoken about, and Pat King. Does that accord with your recollection?
Yes, sir.
And there was other individuals there who were assisting in planning, is that fair?
I believe so, yes.
And I understand that.
So now you say here at the POEC that you confirmed that we were the ones that were doing it all. James had the routes on the computer, and I was planning everything for stops and fuel and lodgings and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm not saying you didn't do anything, but I'm just wanting to point this out for people because all I've wanted was answers, and you guys are sticking your nose up to me. You're refusing to talk to me. You're refusing to acknowledge me. Why is that? This could have all been avoided. I wouldn't be doing this. Still have to, though. Because you see, history was made. You're going to go down in the history books, Chris. But you're leaving out some key players and some key factors of what we actually did. And then when you made it to Ottawa and we got you there, you turned on us. You threw Joe Jansen under the bus. You threw Bridget under the bus. You threw myself under the bus. You threw James under the bus. Because once the money got too big, your egos got involved. We got another video that'll talk about the money too. Hang on.
Canada Unity was actually planning, I learned later, they were planning some sort of a route across Canada to Ottawa for a protest. They had the stops and everything already planned. They had a website ready. They had, everything was all in place, to my recollection.
So yes, the Commission's understanding is that Mr. Bowder had a website through Canada Unity, and on that website there was already route maps and
Yes.
stops and locations. Is that your understanding?
Yes, correct.
And Mr. Bowder is expected to testify, and we can ask him more questions about that. So I just want to clarify what you said there. Is it your recollection that planning was already in place by the time you were connected with Mr. Bowder?
I believe so, yes.
We were going to be open and transparent and accountable, and that they would know exactly what was happening with their donations. I just felt that was so important.
And how would a committee assist with that?
Well, there was, in the initial meeting, there was 2 bookkeepers that had obviously accounting experience. Cindy Parker was also on that committee. Nolene Villebran joined us also. She's a clan mother, a Dene clan mother from the Northwest Territories. And we were in consultation with a chartered accountant in Medicine Hat. So we formed the committee. Obviously, we had a lot of things to figure out, such as...
And then
So we learn who Nolene Villebran is, and Nolene and I have a past. So this is where I warned Tamara about bringing her in, and she didn't come until she got to Ottawa, and they were having problems with the GoFundMe, and they brought her in to use the native card to attempt to protect the money that was being frozen by GoFundMe. Nolene is a firm pusher of the Asman Nation and UNDRIP. Nolene is trying to push a United Nations agenda for First Nations people. And Nolene is a serious problem. Has been for a long time. In fact, her and Grandma Nancy had some issues, and Grandma Nancy accused her of trying to kidnap her. And that's a story for another day. But Nolene has some serious issues. And we had it out on the hill, me and Nolene, when she came in to jump in for the pictures, knowing that she had nothing to do with any of this. But wherever there's money, you'll find Nolene.
with Mr. Wilson, is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
All right. And at that press conference, Mr. Wilson described you as the spark that lit the fire. Do you recall that?
I do.
Do you agree with Mr. Wilson? Were you the spark that lit the fire?
As I said, I never saw myself in that light, and I still don't. I feel like I was part of just an amazing team.
Appreciate.
And I'll agree. We had an absolutely amazing team when we started, but unfortunately, things changed, didn't they, Tamara? The team that we were, you decided that you were going to call the ball on everything. And that included throwing people under the bus and making false allegations of certain people, myself, saying violent rhetoric. And I never did. And you know that. In fact, I was one of the most peaceful and loving people throughout the whole thing. But this is where it starts to turn. And this is where the message gets construed. So I want to fill some gaps here. The key to this was that we were a fantastic team. You're right. You weren't the spark that lit the flame. Canadians were. And albeit you think, you don't see yourself as that, you allowed people to prop you up and put you into that position. And one thing I learned very early on, when people were starting to pay attention to things we were doing, is the second that people put you up on that pedestal, get yourself down immediately and realize where you came from. You see, we were all a team, but you threw every one of us under the bus. And some people have some questions, but you won't answer them for us. So we're forced to do these kind of things and then make us out to look like the bad guy, right? Because you got a hell of a PR team behind you with JCCF and the rest of the nonsense. But we're going to get to JCCF too. Keep watching.
I didn't really think about it, to be honest.
Now I want to ask you some questions about sort of your day-to-day life in Ottawa. When did you learn that Mr. Barber was involved in the convoy?
Like I said, when I spoke with Chris, I can't be sure if it was the 13th or the 14th.
Right.
But their names had both come up. I talked to Mr. Barber on the 13th, and then I believe they had a meeting that evening over Zoom, and so 13th or the 14th.
At any point in time, did you become aware of the Memorandum of Understanding? And the next person I want to ask you about is Mr. King. If I understand correctly, you became aware of Mr. King during the United Reroll because you would see him posting and then you stopped following him at the end of that. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And I apologize if I did ask you this, but had you met Mr. King prior to the Freedom Convoy?
No.
When?
Well, now that's another lie. You said you never met me. But we have video proof showing that we've met and talked on the videos many, many times. So, did you lie on the stand, Tamara? Did you lie about our interactions? Did you lie about who I was? You definitely lied about meeting me. You've met me on Zoom many times. But she goes into more, saying she only met me on the highway. Pay attention to the holes in the stories.
Did you first meet Mr. King?
I was thinking about this last night. I must have met him while we were on our way to Ottawa, but the first time I remember now meeting him was in Winnipeg when we were discussing Benjamin's concerns with the video that he'd seen that morning about bullets flying. I'm sure I met him along the way before then, but I honestly don't recall. But that was definitely, I remember that conversation, or being on the side of the road.
And again, I think we'll get to that in a minute. What would you understand?
So there you have it. Straight up, that was a lie. Next.
Mr. King's role to be in the convoy prior to that conversation?
I believe he was helping with some logistics. He was, I think because of his previous experience with United Reroll, he had a pretty good idea as to the routes that they would be taking. Fuel, helping to try.
And for the team, the real team, for everybody in the team, knows that I had a lot more to do than just logistics and fuel. And that is the holes in the story that aren't being told. If you wanted me to be the fall guy, you should have told the actual truth. You should have told my role in all of this. And then in all this time, you're not. Why? That's it. Why? Why do you refuse to acknowledge that it was me who did it, who had all of the organization on his shoulders, assigned all the road captains to their individual positions, and put everybody in place? Why? I still can't understand why you would lie about this.
Try and find fuel, that type of thing.
If we could pull up COM 50902. While this is coming up, Ms. Leitch, this is a news article that's reporting on text messages between you and Mr. Barber.
Oh, yes.
It was referenced during Mr. Barber's testimony.
Yes.
And before we get to my questions, we have been advised by your counsel that you no longer have access to your text messages. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
What happened?
And as you see in that news article, how they're trying to play the race card with Métis heritage, that is what Nolene Vildebrun came in, was to sign over the Asmin cards to make you a native person so that you have native heritage and they can't touch you. How much did it cost for that card?
Happened to them?
Well, I was in jail for 19 days, and of course my...
And before I take off from Nipagon here, one more story from the Nipagon experience during Convoy. We were scheduled to go all 30 miles of traffic down Highway 17. And of course, 17 in the wintertime is usually not the route that you want to take with a commercial vehicle. Everybody sticks to the North Road on 11. I knew that. I wasn't really in charge of the planning on the route, so I went with it. But there was some...
Okay, so once again, Chris had no organization of the routes. Chris had nothing to do with where we were staying for the nights, where we were going, what routes we were taking. And in this video, I know it's repeating, but there's a real big key point to the story here that I want to point out, another hole to the lie. And we'll let this play, and then I'm going to tell you at the end. So I'm sorry for repeating the video, but this is a big one, Chris. This one gets me, buddy. Because I remember sitting waiting for you guys for 4 hours in my family's hotel while we waited for you guys to come for the fuel stop. Do you remember that little place? Remember it's called Terrace Bay? Here we go.
Locals that came in from Cochrane, Ontario, and there was some people up there that were pretty miffed that the convoy wasn't coming through on Highway 11, like really miffed. And so, of course, we tried to accommodate and facilitate everything during convoy. And we made the executive decision en route at Nipagon, at the intersection of 17 and 11, where you go up to Hearst.
Who made the executive decision, Chris? Who truly made that executive decision to take cars up a highway where there were no amenities, no stops, no provisions, nothing? Wasn't it because the OPP had closed the highway down at White River? And that's what you told me is why you split everybody up? Was because the OPP made you split them up and send them up north? Or was it because people were begging you to come up north? You see, we didn't send people up on that highway for a reason. And that reason was there was nothing planned and no provisions available. Albeit some people came to bat once they knew the convoy was going up there. But Chris, you had it out with me saying the OPP told you to send them up there. So was it the OPP that sent them up there because the highways were closed east of White River? Or was it because people called you and you're such a hero that you accommodated everybody and you made that executive decision? I'm just curious, because that's a hole in the story for me. Carry on. Let's keep going.
That we would divide the convoy in two. Tractor trailer units would go the north road, and the bobtail units mostly would go on the south road. And we did that. And my stipulation with Jim is his name in Cochrane. I said that if we deroute and send a bunch of trucks up there, we need accommodations. We need, places to sleep, food, something. And they worked so diligently in the town of Cochrane to clear a parking lot, make sure they had ample room, they had places for people to stay, food, water. It worked. And we met up with Convoy in North Bay. 11, the guys that did the North Road, when we come through, they actually beat us to North Bay. We're sitting on the side of the highway waiting for us when we come through on 17, and we joined back up again. So we facilitated that little detour.
And, well, here's the other part of it. We had a big stop in North Bay. Huge turnout in North Bay. Major Liberal stronghold. So strategically, we needed this stop to encourage North Bay to stand up and hopefully see through the veil that is the Liberal government. Unfortunately, because of the trucks being rerouted up on 11 and coming down at North Bay, there was a major bottleneck traffic jam, of which the OPP would not accommodate and allow us to move trucks through. And this is where the convoy got absolutely split up horrendously to where people were scattered for miles all across the highway. But, my logistics planning would not have allowed that to happen because things would have moved rather smoothly. Now, albeit, we got out of there. Took us 2 hours to get through North Bay, which made our arrival time in Arnprior a little later than it was supposed to be. But hey, you know what? All that food that was left behind in North Bay that was supposed to be transported with us, that we were supposed to pick up, it made its way to Ottawa. So guys like myself, Jason Lafacci, and a few other people that were able to get this stuff together and get people organized, we picked up the rest of the problems. And we dealt with them accordingly, Chris. But hey, you had nothing to do with it, right? It was just you and Tamara and your team.
Do you see where it says on January 22nd? You see there?
I do, sir.
Okay, so it says on January 22nd, Leitch told Barber that they need to have a very frank discussion with King, raising concerns about past allegations against him. Do you see that?
I do.
Do you recall what the concerns were at this point in time?
Well, up until then, I mean, I've obviously followed Pat through the United We Roll convoy, and but I knew him by reputation also, and Pat has Mr. King, sorry, has a lot of people that like him and a lot of people that don't like. He's a very controversial figure, so I was.
Well, you see, this is telling you the story of January 22nd before we had left. How Tamara was already trying to weasel me out some way. So this gives a little bit of an inside of the communications they were having in the background. Am I a controversial figure? Maybe, because of the simple fact is I can't be bought. So I'm not going to spin your narrative. I'm not going to toe the line per se, like you want me to. And I call it the way I see it. And I don't sugarcoat it. I also don't use political correctness. And that is the controversy. If I say things that spark your emotions, there's a reason for that. If you want to call it controversial, still gets the point across. But you see, this is where the honk throw him under the bus comes in. And this is how Tamara did it. This is how Tamara muddied the waters early on.
And which is a very serious allegation, and I just felt like we needed to have a discussion with him and, you know, a frank discussion and I guess find out the details.
And what was your concern at that point?
Well, there was people that were not joining the convoy because they were concerned about him, and again, because of his reputation. I know he's said a lot of inflammatory things, which I was concerned about. And I was concerned that that would have an impact on what we were trying to achieve. It would take away the focus from what it was we were trying to achieve.
So at this point in time, January 22nd, you were aware of Mr. King's reputation for
Yes.
saying inflammatory things,
Yes.
controversial things,
Yes, sir.
things that people may find racist?
Yes.
Okay. Had you ever been offended by anything that Mr. King had said?
I'm not the type that gets easily offended, sir.
So if you're not the one who gets easily offended, sir, and it doesn't bother you, then why are you having backroom communications about concerns that you're having about me and controversial things that I said in the past? This is where your story contradicts itself. But I understand. I'm the scapegoat, right? I'm the reason that you want the attention off of you and more negative on me. And this is the part where you're throwing me under the bus. A lot of people saw it when this was happening in real time. And the onslaught of messaging that I got from people saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe she just did that to you." That broke something inside of me. And that showed me right at that point that there's something more to you, Tamara. There's something more to what you're trying to do. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry that you had to use me as a scapegoat.
But you recognize that some people would take offense and that that could have an effect on the image of the convoy?
Yes.
And I thought I heard you say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you were actually receiving messages from people who were expressing a reluctance to participate because of Mr. King's involvement. Did I hear that correctly?
That's correct, yeah.
Do you have a sense of how many messages you received along those lines?
Oh, geez. I had a conversation with my MP about his involvement. I remember that. He was concerned about it.
So the MP that she's close with, that she's saying had a problem with it, why does your member of parliament have a problem with me and being controversial? And your member of parliament was Drew Barnes. And Is it because I did a hit piece on Drew Barnes, also a Conservative member, that I did a hit piece on his being a slumlord and his building units are decrepit and falling apart and he's not fixing them? Or is it because the Conservative Party was involved in your goings-on with the Convoy and the Conservatives had a little bit of drive behind this? Things that make you go,
Cindy Parker had concerns about him also that she'd raised right away. And yeah, I don't know how many messages or there was concerns, but there was also people that were there because Pat was involved too. Like I said, he did have his followers also, right?
Right, and if we continue to look at the story, it goes on to say that despite the concerns we've just talked about, you said that he was needed by the movement, and then it makes a commentary about later comments, and then it quotes you, later statements, and then it quotes you as saying, "We need him, and I don't care about his past, but it only takes one. We have to control his rhetoric, not even threatening to throw snowballs at Parliament." When you said we need him, was that what you were referring to, that he had a lot of followers? Or was there something else?
That was in reference to conversations that we'd had with the road captains, and some of them, he had been involved from the start and had, made. I think he looked after the accommodations or something in Sault Ste. Marie because he's from that area. So, yeah. So that wasn't necessarily me saying I felt like he was needed. That I was kind of referencing the conversations in general that we were having, and some of them felt that they were concerned that if he left, that the people that supported him would leave.
So there you have it. You needed me. You needed my following. You needed my platform. Your biggest concern, you say, was about something where, as you've already mentioned, that something to do with bullets, right? And you remember the video where it was, are you going to stand up for your democratic right and your freedom to peacefully assemble and freedom to protest? Or are you going to wait until it takes bullets? Because that was the path that we were going down. But you knew that. And you still continued to throw me under the bus. It is what it is. This video is for answers, and I hope you start giving some answers and start telling the truth so that we can all get back onto the same team and we can all start doing what needs to be done and focus our attentions towards the federal government and unite this country under one flag again. But watching your rhetoric against me and against what I've accomplished to prop yourself and put you back up on that pedestal and carry on with the narrative that you are the spark that lit the flame, when really it was Canadians that did it. This next video should tell you who you really needed to be worried about. And this next video, that's the one they were more concerned about, not mine. But thanks.
Hearing that Trudeau wants our guns. So does he want them bullets first or that way? Come and get them.
So that one's a little bit more concerning than exercising your democratic right to freedom of peaceful assembly. But now for the final one. Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. Understanding that this is an organization that will stand up for Canadians' rights when their constitutional rights have been violated. In fact, Tamara became very close buddies with them. Well, when you got $10 million sitting in a escrow account and possibility of getting that money, any ambulance chaser would help defend you, right? So Keith Wilson and his little buddies at JCCF wouldn't help me, wouldn't help James Bowder, wouldn't help a lot of the people that were involved And this one will tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Tamara's lawyer, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, hey, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Oh, that's good. I was actually just curious, calling about the bank accounts that have been frozen. Are you able to help with that sort of stuff? For the
What's this related to?
well, there was the
Related to the convoy or something different?
yeah, because there's a bank account that has been frozen, and we're trying to get that resolved. And I was told you might be the person that can assist us with that. And I'm willing to pay and help us because basically my friend's unable to. His child support checks aren't able to clear out of his account, and he can't even open a bank anywhere. And even some of his disability checks, they won't deposit, or he can't cash or pay anything. It's been quite a predicament he's in, and I've been advised and told by some other good friends that you were successful in assisting them on having that changed in some way, shape, or form that can allow a person to go buy groceries and pay their bills.
Is this a TD account?
No, it was, I believe it's an Alberta Treasury bank account, sir.
Okay. And who referred you to us?
My friend Tamara, Tamara Leitch, I talked to her this morning.
Okay. So I'm Tamara's lawyer. I'm part of this.
Oh, okay. Well, it's really nice to meet you, and I'm just trying to help out a friend here that's in it's in basically the same situation, I believe, and he.
What is the friend Patrick King?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay, we can't act for him. We can't do anything for him. No.
Is there any I was gonna help pay you to help, or?
Yeah, no, we can't act for him. He's the Justice Center or whatever these guys are, who we ultimately report to, and who we report to for Tamara, have strictly instructed us not to deal with him.
But I'm just thinking, as a private lawyer, can't we hire you to help us?
No, we can't deal with him.
Why?
Well, because of certain conduct that he engaged in.
Okay.
You'll have to look for another lawyer to do that. We can't help you.
Okay. Do you know anybody?
Right, I gotta go. No, I got no one to help you. But there's lots of lawyers in the phone book.
So there you have it, folks. That is it. That is all I'm doing. I've got tons more of questions that I want asked, but I don't think I'll ever get to that level with these people. But hopefully this will give you a little bit of insight on what really truly went on in the background. And that last video with the lawyer, that should have everybody concerned. JCCF is supposed to stand for Canadians, stand for our Justice Center for our constitutional freedoms. But you stood by and allowed every constitutional right of mine get violated. I could have been the poster child for JCCF. You could have had lawsuits out the wazoo with multi-millions of dollars. Instead, JCCF decided to throw me under the bus as well. Why? Because I won't toe your party line? Because I know about the backdoor involvement of one said political party? The trickle feeding of the GoFundMe page? So much more. And what's the conduct that I supposedly partook in? Because according to the judge, I was the main factor why there was no violence or damage to property, and I could be credited for that in significant respects. Who told you to negotiate with the city of Ottawa? How did Keith Wilson catch a private plane to come see you? Things that make you go, How's Drew Bars doing these days? Peace. Oh, and Glenn Carrot. We never did one of these on you in 2019. Maybe I should go into some old files and pull those up too. Enjoy your new truck.